Okay.
Actually, yeah.
And it's raining. Hey, wow, how we're doing? Oh, how do we do the comments then? I suppose that would be a good thing to know. I don't know how if anyone's commenting. Oh, there's the comment button. Great. How we're doing, gents? Well, welcome to a live show of from Tailors with Love, but also with the alumni of Matt Spacer from Bond Suits. How we're doing today, Matt?
I'm doing okay. It's the middle of the day
Great.
here.
Good to see you, buddy. Oh, there's Thomas down there on line 3 from Fleming Never Dies. How are we doing today, Thomas?
Very well today, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Cool, excellent. We just polished his webcam, which is not a euphemism, I've got to say. And he was. And we've got Daniel Gaster over there and down at the bottom right. How are we doing today, Daniel?
I'm doing well, thank you, Pete.
Daniel, you're in the shadows.
Yeah, I mean, it's dark here in the field.
My man in a field. Well, listen, guys, this is very much an experiment. So thanks for taking time out to jump on. And for anyone that's going to be joining us at the start of this or halfway through, we'll be publishing this live stream as a video on YouTube as per normal. But really what I wanted to do, we're in a WhatsApp thread, us guys and a couple of other gents, and we kind of back and forth every other day with what's coming out, what's being released, what our thoughts are on it. And I thought it'd be good to aggregate some of those opinions and news outlets basically in a live stream so that everyone can kind of get the gist of what's going on out there, because there's so much that gets released around the 60th in particular, but not everything I think gets the right amount of attention that it deserves. So, anywho, without any further ado, I guess Daniel, you've done quite a lot of quiet digging with regards to some of the stuff that Mason and Sons has released, and I was wondering if you wanted to touch upon some of those new releases.
Yeah, sure. So over the last 2 weeks, we've seen releases around the Goldfinger collection. So the first outfit we'll talk about is, yes, that one, the brown barleycorn tweed jacket. So this is their second version of this jacket. They released one some time ago under their Mason and Sons label, but this is an updated version. The details of this jacket: it is a single-breasted 2-button notch lapel, slanted flat side pockets, an outer breast welt pocket, single vent, 4-button cuff.
Hold on a minute, I'm trying to bring up the pockets.
There we are. Beautiful, beautiful.
There you go. There's the pockets.
There we are.
And roped sleeve heads. Now this is I can see Pete. There we go. There we go. Hello.
Sorry, I was too busy. I was too busy trying to show some of the stuff off for the people that might be curious as to know what the pockets are.
Yeah. So this is one of my personal favorite items that they previously released. This has been on my wish list for a while. The observations I had from looking at what I'd noted previously to this version was that it is significantly higher in price than the previous version. However, when we discussed this on our thread, Matt actually pointed out a lot of details regarding the comparison from the old version to this version. So, Matt, do you want to weigh in at this point? Because I think you'll do it more justice than I would.
Okay, well, so there are a few different, major changes that were also, people have mentioned that the cost is higher now than it was before. The main reason, well, there are two reasons. The cloth is different, and the construction is now full canvas. The old one was half canvas. So those two things will justify an increase in the price. The new fabric is so that, I mean, it's a wool and Angora blend, which is interesting. I believe that they found this fabric from Harrison's. It's good English fabric. So they aren't saying that it's from Harrison's, but I think that might be because they have a connection with Holland and Sherry, and they're trying to make a lot of this about Holland and Sherry. But Holland and Sherry do not have anything that comes close. So they chose this fabric from Harrison's. Now it is, I think the color is a little lighter than the other one. A lot of people complained that the old one was too dark. This one I think is still a little dark. There's another fabric that Harrison's has in the same barleycorn tweed that is a little bit lighter, but I haven't seen it in person, so I cannot vouch if it is properly like if it's too light, maybe it could be a good alternative to this one. And as that, these are all made to order. So if you want this in any fabric that you can find, I'm sure they can make it for you.
Yeah, I think everything now on Mason and Sons website is made to measure.
Yeah.
It's not made to order rather than off the peg. I don't think they've got anything off the peg at the moment now.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, everything on their cloth books and everything on their website is all Holland and Sherry for Anthony Sinclair. For their other tailoring, which is Pope and
Bradley.
Pope and Bradley, thank you. It's a different fabric swatches entirely.
Yeah, I think they're using VBC, which is not quite as. I mean, they're perfectly great fabrics, but they're not quite Holland and Sherry. And one difference between this cloth and the old one that they were using is that this one it's certainly softer, it's finer, the pattern's a little smaller, and I think that actually brings it closer to what Connolly wore. The old one, which I have, is quite a chunky tweed, which I think is chunkier than than what Connolly wore. Whereas this one is finer.
How off-putting is it for me to put up the screen grabs right in front of everybody's faces?
I'm finding it hilarious.
I love it. Put it up.
Here's
now,
another
Pete.
one.
Oh,
there we go.
So this is the cavalry twill trousers.
Bring it back up, Pete. Bring it up.
Okay, here we go.
Thomas, you were?
We can just shift over to the
about
side.
the jacket, because I remember, I think Matt, you wrote that the original Goldfinger jacket had a bit of red in it. Does this look right? Bit of brown and red?
No, it's not a bit of red. It's more. It might be a. No, it's. I think it's just more of a. I mean, my belief is that the cloth is made up of it's like a kind of like a beige, like a pale beige and a dark brown, and this one is like a dark brown and maybe like a mid tan. But I think it's a little darker.
Might be able to
some people have said otherwise, but looking at this up close, it's it's very similar.
Okay, so you find this very similar to the Sean Connery jacket?
Yeah, I think the color is a little dark. The cavalry twills now are so now they're the old tweed that they were using was from Abraham Moon, which is in Yorkshire. Most of these cloth weavers, merchants are in Yorkshire. So
Huddersfield
and Bradford.
That's lucky for you, Thomas.
Yeah, I'll pop along next.
You're right by them.
Well,
all in West Yorkshire.
Mm-hmm.
We had a chat a while ago, didn't we, about the mill that's up by your way? That Roger Moore used to run. Was it Bradford and not Bradford and Bingley? That's the accountants. Hold on, let me get
Pearson and Foster.
Sorry, what was it, Matt?
Pearson and Foster.
That's it, yeah. But I mean, it's since been closed. But I think the people are still around. Anyway, there was a loose end that I thought you were going to head down to the defunct mill and do some quiet digging.
I got really interested in in Octopussy, Bond is supposed to have this cover that he's a wool merchant from Leeds or something, or a businessman from Leeds. And I always wondered if this was a reference to his West Yorkshire connection. Working on that. Obscure references, obscure, but it's these in jokes that work their way into the film. So.
What else did we have? Daniel, you sent me these other trousers. Are they a darker version?
Yeah, so these are. This is part of the next outfit that's come out this week. I think the email came out yesterday, and this is for the golf scene. So I'm wearing the Slazenger jumper, which they have now put back onto their website. So they are doing a big sell on the Slazenger jumper. There we go. And these are the trousers that they are putting on to accompany the outfit, which is the black flannel trousers. I'll just scroll down a little bit. So I've got on my notes. So these are a black flannel, 9 ounces, 100% super 120s wool worsted by Holland and Sherry, woven in England. The trousers have a flat front, zip fly, Dax tab and button side adjusters, brace buttons, frog mouth pockets, 2 hip pockets, and again, these haven't been previously released. Previously, Anthony Sinclair had 3 styles of similar trousers, but instead of having the DAC tabs, they had buckle strap side adjusters, which is a pair I'm wearing today. But since then, those 3 have moved over to then Mason and Sons, and now with Pope and
Bradley.
Bradley, thank you. Why can't I get Bradley in my head? So those 3 trousers are still available, and they're like Matt said, they're under that VSC material.
BBC, yeah.
BBC, yeah. I will get the terminology wrong.
Italian,
but yeah, these
barbarous canonico something. I don't speak Italian.
But these are the essentially the Goldfinger golf trousers that they've released. So these are £650. So
nice.
Quite nice. But the details on them are quite nice. The frog mat trousers, the side adjusters as well.
Yeah.
It's all quite nice. And again, I think this also, further in the film, this would also match with the black polo and black V-neck for
exactly. It's the same trousers.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and one thing about these is, so I wasn't quite sure what the color was originally, if it was like a dark charcoal or if it was black, and so I was talking with David Mason and the president of Holland and Sherry, Dougal Monroe, and Dougal was telling me about how he looked at them. He's like, no, they have to be black, can't be charcoal, because they have to be black because you would see charcoal, you would see like a more variation in the color. You wouldn't see such a flat color. Because I thought it was a little strange that Bond would wear shoes that weren't black with black trousers. He wears these with it's like a brown or burgundy kind of shoe, those golf shoes, and I thought that was a little strange that it wasn't black shoes with black trousers. But Dougal was quite sure that the real ones were black.
Sorry, in the comments, 0-11 has said, "Is this live? I can assure you it is 0-11. Only in a live stream will my cat be screaming at the window that I have to let him in."
We're all live except Daniel.
Yeah,
I'm actually pre-recorded for today, but yeah.
Which makes this a bit
technology.
clever. Daniel, we talked before about flat-fronted trousers or pleated trousers. Were we going back and having a chat about that?
We did. This was in discussion about David's navy suit that he wore for the Aston Martin video that he's actually was released today. Thinking about it, he has the proper sort of
David Zawitsky from the Bond experience.
So Mason and Sons have made up the navy herringbone suit with the material covered buttons on the cuffs and the buttons on the jacket, which is slightly different to the one that they've released that's supposed to cover that suit, because they have a plain navy suit that they're advertising for that. But I think it was Matt that said that that he went flat fronted, he wouldn't go pleated.
Yeah, because I had met with David and his colleague Ryan. We were talking about how more about the details of that real Goldfinger suit, and I think the real one has like a flannel finish, whereas we could not source a navy herringbone flannel for the suit. So David Zawitsky also chose to go with a lighter weight. And it wasn't a flannel because he runs very hot all the time. He wants something that wears cooler. So flannel's not for him. But it is. I'm sure Q's lab was quite a cool place. It looked like it was in a basement. I'm sure Q's lab was very cool.
Those old government offices are pretty chilly. I mean, you can see why they're wearing such heavy suits.
Yeah, and Q's lab had to be in a basement. They wouldn't put that on a top floor. So it was cold, and Connery needed that flannel suit, which was originally made for a country house and woman of straw.
Mm-hmm.
He wears that as
Yeah.
a three-piece, and you can really see those covered buttons in the three-piece version. But so yeah, David went for the
How
flat
many-
front because he wanted to modernize it.
How many pieces into the 60th are we with Mason and Sons? Has anyone kept count?
I tried to keep count, but I think we're about halfway. But it depends on like if we count every single shirt and every little.
Every shirt counts. Every
shirt counts.
Every single shirt counts.
Okay.
Every shirt is
So,
sacred.
Before we move on to the next one, because we've got a few bits to get through, and we need to rattle through some of them because Daniel made some extensive show notes. How is it, Matt? Maybe I'll throw this over to you. How is it that Mason and Sons can release items like this but not have the license or the branding?
because clothes are clothes. Clothes don't. If you have, as long as you're marketing them a certain way, clothes don't belong to any. A clothing style doesn't belong to anyone, and
I get that, but then you have like a picture like this perhaps on the website, and that's clearly clothes from films.
it's certainly tricky to use.
I'm just saying it's flying close to the wind, but I mean, I'm all for it. But
they might have some kind of relationship that we don't know about
with Stoke Poaches,
or with Dan Jack and MGM. You never know. I'm sure they've spoken. There's just no way that they haven't spoken. Well, they'll speak to anyone who tries to compete with them.
How about? Do you want to move on to the John Smedley release, Daniel? We've got some John Smedley news that you wanted to touch upon.
Yeah, so we recently on Sean Connery's birthday, John Smedley posted on its socials that Sean Connery was the first to wear John Smedley as Bond, specifically this polo that he's wearing in Dr. No that they've mentioned. So I sent an email to their customer services to inquire, because a lot of their items are, heritage, they've been around for decades. So wondering if that polo was still around. I had two responses from two different members of customer services. The first one was suggesting that it was the ISIS model, which backs to the 1930s, maintains a contemporary look. It's made from their Sea Island cotton, features a fashionable collar and 3 buttons placket. Now, I did write Matt's comment on that in the notes, but I'll let Matt comment as he's here.
Well,
what was your thoughts on that one?
Well, Connery's has 2 buttons, obviously, so that's quite a big difference. I can't remember. So Connery's polo is a PK polo with a ribbed collar. Does this polo from Smedley have those details?
That's not a ribbed collar.
No.
Not to my eyes.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
The second suggestion was the Roth, which is similar to the Adrian shirt, but offers a PK woven stitch, short sleeve polo, again made from their Sea Island cotton.
Is this the one that I brought up earlier by mistake?
So this is that's the ISIS. Oh no, sorry, that is the Roth.
That's the Roth. Okay, that's the Roth.
That's the Roth. So
that's the Roth. But again, as you can see, 3 buttons.
They could have changed the button placket over time, right?
Well, I don't know. They're a very traditional brand. They don't change things much, do they?
Mm.
I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, based on your thoughts, Matt, you thought potentially that style of polo could have been the one that he wore under the Schlesinger in Goldfinger, or potentially the one under the V-neck in Goldfinger as well, the black one.
Those look more. I mean, those to me could be Smedley. I would not doubt that. The Goldfinger polo is not a particularly fancy. Sorry, I mean the Dr. No polo is not a particularly fancy polo. It's quite ordinary. It doesn't look luxurious. I wouldn't have guessed it was from Smedley. It doesn't strike me as something that would be up to their standards. It looks like the most ordinary polo you could possibly have.
So Smedley, sorry, Daniel. Smedley first came on my radar for being, and probably everybody else's, for being in Skyfall, right? What was interesting when Matt and I spoke to, or it might have been just me, Matt, spoke to, is it John McClane down there? He said that Daniel was a private customer, and he was, quite insistent that John Smedley come on board, and well, at least he wanted to wear this jumper in the film. But there was no mention at the time when we were in conversation with John Smedley that they had such a history arcing all the way back to Sean Connery. So this is quite a surprise that it's come out of almost nowhere, really.
It's not the first time that they've posted this. I think around the time of Sean Connery's death, they also posted similar comments at that point. So I have that sort of. I mean, I could go back through their Facebook and or Instagram that far, but it was essentially the same picture that they posted and saying that he was the first Bond to wear John Smedley. But based on Matt's comments, I did a follow up and saying, do you know about the Goldfinger polos, and the Thunderball polo as well? He's got a long sleeve polo in Thunderball, but they have no archive records going back that far, which makes you wonder why they're posting anything about Sean Connery.
I mean, there are so many there must have been so many just different brands back then that are not around anymore that no one would have known of today.
Yeah, sorry, Matt, go on.
No, I'm just it's like I mean, Smedley is the ultimate British knitwear brand. They have been for such a long time. So it's like when you think of British knitwear, that's the first brand that comes to mind, and I think Connery certainly could have worn clothes from them, but it's like there was so much out there that there's so much out there today that we don't know about, and there's so much out there that used to be around that brands that have fallen. So it's just impossible to really know unless there are just hard records of what was worn.
Make more sense for him to wear them in Goldfinger and Thunderball, because obviously 007 as a brand have established itself within a short space of time, whereas in Dr. No, they're probably scraping around for anything.
Yeah, they were probably I mean, maybe they bought that polo in Jamaica when they were filming there. Who knows?
Who knows? There's talking about Sean Connery's death, there's a picture that I post in comment threads probably every other day, if not every day, and it's this one. And I always think that's my favorite picture of Sean, just giving the thumbs up. It kind of answers pretty much any question, or even if you haven't got anything to say, you can just go, there you go.
That's it.
I mean, I go with Zardoz, but hey.
Yeah, it was Zardoz. It's a coin toss, whether it's that one or not. Guys, can we switch gears slightly? I wanted to talk about a release the headphones release from Boyers and Wilkins. Because it was interesting, the video that they released some new headphones, I should say, the 007 headphones. There they are with the 007 logo, and they got the midnight blue. And we saw the video. They really pulled out all the stops on the video to promote these headphones. Thomas, you got to see it?
Yeah, I got to see it, and I was amazed at. I mean, we get to see David Arnold, we get to see Lindy Hemming, we get to see quite a lot of, Bond aficionados, Bond people.
Right. And so Meg Simmons came on, and during one of there was a brief little scene where they're rifling through. They're talking about the midnight blue and the inspiration, and they bring up the tuxedo from Dr. No, and they're rifling through, and this is like the images that they have. And I actually thought this was quite fascinating, aside from everything else. So the headphones are blue. I think that was the main message that they got everybody out of the woodwork to say. It's like, we've got the logo, we've got the headphones, and they're blue. It was a
midnight blue.
Midnight blue, yeah.
Midnight blue.
it was a very verbose way of saying we've made some midnight blue headphones for you all. But when I posted about it and said, oh, it's great to see the Anthony Sinclair midnight blue, the tuxedo in the video, and it resonating still through today, I got a message back from Meg Simmons, or a comment on that, saying Bond's first midnight blue tuxedo wasn't Anthony Sinclair, which was, I suppose, well, a great contribution to the thread. So thanks for that, Meg. And Meg is, we should say, a very important figure in the world of Eon and in the world of clothes, because obviously she's the archivist and has been for such a long time. And she's got access to pretty much everything that us, content creators and Bond fans alike really would like to see. We would probably give our left nut to go down and have a look at these archives. So it was interesting that she's come out with something that is very contrary to what we've believed or been told in the past. I reached out to Elliot from Elliot Mason and I said, have I lost my marbles? I always thought this was an Anthony Sinclair tuxedo. And he goes, oh yeah, no, it's we've always believed that too.
I mean, Terrence Young, I'm sure Terrence Young had said that.
Mm-hmm. He had said that it was an Anthony Sinclair tuxedo.
He never mentioned any other tailor, although he did always talk about shirts from Lon Van, which I'm still not sure on that one, because the shirts that Connery wears almost always resemble Turnbull and Asser.
And the dressing gown as well from Long Vin that the chick wears. He gave her his dressing gown.
I thought that was from. Was that from Solka? Or was that from somewhere else? I can't remember.
I think the shirts were from Solka. And anyway, we'll have to go back. We'll have to read the book again.
Go back. Yeah, read our book.
Every time.
Oh,
man,
Thomas.
Every time. Available from all good bookshops.
Thank God. Right. We'll give you a quick minute to rifle through and find it. Luckily, there's an index that we paid 200 quid for that you can look it up pretty quickly.
I'd say it was worth 150.
But I can't remember who it was, either you, Matt, or Daniel, that said it's interesting that we think it's a Sinclair tuxedo because it's always been the cut. It's always been promoted by the brand. And when they had to do the Designing Bond exhibition, they brought back Mason and Sons to do some of the right?
Yeah, they asked David Mason to replicate the what Anthony Sinclair made back in 1962, and this was 10 years ago. And they asked him to also do it again for the exhibit
Madame Tussauds.
Madame Tussauds. Yeah, and they had Mason's dinner jacket at. They had it.
Sorry.
They had it at the Bond in Motion at Covent Garden too.
Sorry, I'm just showing you your own writing, which is Anthony Sinclair dinner jacket.
Yeah.
That seems up to now.
Right, and it looks, well, that's what we've always thought. That's what we've been told by countless exhibits, and that's what the Designing 007 exhibit told us. That's what... Yeah. No, I mean...
I'm slightly confused because when they flashed up the picture, it was a 3-button one with no gauntlet cuff, and yet what we see in the film
that one is the Skyfall. That one is the Skyfall.
You've got the Skyfall and the Anthony Sinclair.
And then, the one next to it looks like Mason's replica. Unless they have something else, but it looks like they have it looks like the replica that I've seen at a few different exhibits. And but so there's something else though that's after this was said, I took some very close looks again at the suit, at the dinner suit in Dr. No, and I looked one thing that I compared it against some of the other suits in the film. I mean, the cut is exactly the same. I looked at the vent at the back, and I compared the vent to the height of the jetted pocket on the suits. It's exactly the same. They are so. If the original suit wasn't Anthony Sinclair, then none of the suits in Dr. No were.
Which
But
is nuts, right?
they look so much like Anthony Sinclair's suits, especially compared to. I mean, they are slightly different than what's in From Russia with Love, but the differences are so subtle. Like the lapel is slightly different, but I've just chalked that up to just a different time. Different changing fashions. 'Cause Sinclair certainly changed with the times. There's differences from one film to the next with every single time, all 6 of the films. But he's also the cloths are pretty much the same cloths that you'd see in all the later films. There's really he's just nothing seems to be different. There's nothing that looks different. And I took a close look at what some of Ian Fleming's tailor made, Benson, Perry, and Whitley, and the cut is different. They did a different kind of front dart. Maybe they changed it for if they did Connery. Maybe they changed it. Who knows what this is all about.
Oh, well, I did reply to Meg. I said, "Oh, that's interesting. I don't suppose you could tell us who did." And crickets, basically.
Maybe she didn't. Maybe she just didn't see the response.
Maybe she just hates my guts, which I think is probably the real response. How about we move on? I've got to actually make some dinner for the missus, so perhaps need to rattle through a couple more, and we'll skip Voine glasses if you don't Voine glasses if you don't mind, Daniel.
Yeah.
I know Bogner released a load of stuff. Bogner released a lot of stuff, which was cool. I really want to speak about the Connolly t-shirts, because I just think they're ridiculous. I think they're really, really they look like they were done by
I missed
an
this.
8-year-old. You missed this. So
They
this
wait,
was a few days.
Wait, is the Live and Let Die, are those 2 different shirts? Or is that front and back?
Front and back, I think.
Well, the thing is, I can't actually log onto the site because I've got issues with getting onto certain sites. They don't show up the pictures, but this was the only one that I could grab. I don't know if you guys
like
can...
the one that just says no. I mean,
that's the only one that I actually...
I'm seeing tags in the collar for both the Live and the Let Die shirt. So I'm assuming it's like a husband and wife would wear.
Oh, like you could.
Would you be
you wear
Live
the
or
t-shirt
Let Die?
shirt, and someone says, "Do you like this?" You just unbutton and go.
Yeah, just say no. Do you know what? I can't remember who it was that made a fan film called Dr. No Means Yes. Oh, someone out there might know that, but it was a brilliant fan film. His name was Richard something. Those t-shirts are a definite pass for me, says Javi Chulio. Sorry, Javi, I'm probably screwing your name up. Harvey. I mean, and your first name as well. I'm screwing that up too. But I mean, look, I just for the price of these fine, 20 quid at a gift shop, I can understand. These are 129, I think.
Really?
Well, like what kind of cotton are they?
I think they're a Pima cotton. Someone could perhaps find that out. The thing is, I can't log on to these sites, which is nuts. If anyone can do that real quick, I'll buy you a hot minute, because this is basically whatever website. This is why Daniel has been so good with the show notes.
Yeah, I'm there now. It's
where is it?
Let's see.
Does it say what the fabric?
Oh, maybe I see. Oh, so it is. Oh, so it is front and back.
Right.
Yeah.
Made in
Portugal.
Portugal.
Down the street, and there's someone walking towards you with a T-shirt that says "Let Die." Oh, and eventually you see their back or something.
Yeah. Right. So they're £130 each. So you've got the Doctor. You've got a pocket T-shirt that says "For Your Eyes Only" on the pocket. You've got the 007 logo. You've got the Mr. Bond T-shirt, the Live and Let Die T-shirt, and then you've got the existing Connolly 007 stuff that they previously released with the linen shirts that were seen in No Time to Die, and the Gabido jacket, and the goggles. You still get the goggles.
So, wait, Daniel, you said the price is £130?
Yep, per T-shirt.
So No, in the United States, on the United States website, it's only $125.
Yeah, but the pound has just plummeted, hasn't it? So...
But the pound is still stronger than the dollar, and I mean,
Well, anyway,
and I mean, usually they increase the price in addition to the exchange rate over here.
it's
Usually
still a
that's the
king's
case.
ransom for t-shirts that just look. I don't know what to make of these. I just think also with Connolly, I don't know if they do t-shirts or if they're known for t-shirts. They're known for the leather and the
Leather.
DB5 and stuff like that. Could they not have done something interesting and just added a bit of leather on the welt of the pocket or something like that, or just made it out of leather and charged $130? I don't know, something. There's just nothing. There's nothing that screams Connolly, and there's
No.
nothing that screams cool. So I just don't get it. By the way, this is what happens when I log on to any website these days to try and get screen grabs. I don't know if anyone out there can help me with this. My laptop's 100 years old. That's why we didn't plug the show, because
have you tried turning it on and off and on again?
I think the real solution would be to chuck it out and not bring it back in. So chuck it out permanently and buy a new one. But anyway, so that's that. Guys, I've got to go cook dinner for the missus. But just before I go, thank you for coming on to the show for this inaugural live stream. I normally hate doing anything live, but I figured this would be a good platform to shoot the breeze, catch up with you all, incorporate some fun elements with the screen grabs and whatnot. Matt, you got something cooking on the blog today over at Bond Suits? You did one on Valentine's suit
on your cat's suit, Pete. Yeah.
On my cat suit. That's right. Yeah.
Valentine, your cat. Yeah, on Valentin Zukovsky. So this is the suit that I was wanting to write about actually for a while, and now since Robbie Coltrane died, thought it was be a good time. Couldn't get it up ready for the blog last week, so got it up this week.
Over at bondsuits.com, the place to check that out. Thomas, you did a podcast about Nelson and the war, but we've got more Michael Caine stuff coming up.
We do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Zulu.
Oh, Zulu.
Classic 1964 film with a soundtrack by John Barry.
Oh.
So it's another 1964 classic soundtrack from John Barry.
That is a real classic.
Story. Yeah. Wait for the whites of their eyes, lads. Daniel, you got a blog that you've sent me that I haven't published yet because I've been rubbish, but we'll get that up in the week. All about the trousers, and we'll tease it with that. Before I go, though, I wanted to get your gents, and perhaps anyone listening, your take on this. Something here to show you.
What's in the bag?
This is just a loan, by the way. This is not anything.
It's a loan.
Nothing that's been gifted and nothing that's been bought. But I really fancied this hat when I saw it. I thought, I want to try it. But then the guy said, "Isn't it?" The PR guy goes, "Isn't it a chick's hat?" I said, "Yeah, but what? Eh?" And it's the Vincenzo.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I wanted to try it out. I can't do it with headphones. I'll have to take these off a sec. But
I thought all of the hats that they made were supposed to be unisex.
Right. Okay. Well, that's what I was about to tell him. So
they were supposed to be for men or women. It's not that. That's why they changed it from the original design.
Okay. Well, look, I wanted this because I figured there'd be a bit of Pale Rider going on with this. So hold on a sec. Let me. Nice, right?
Slightly Mask of Zorro.
Yeah, actually more Mask of Zorro than Pale Rider.
And you know what? It's actually well. I'm trying to. It reminds me of something else too, but no, definitely Zorro.
Oh, I know. You're thinking of Michael Biehn in Tombstone.
Oh no! You know what it is? The hat that Roger Moore wears with his poncho in Moonraker when he's riding the horse.
Yeah.
Deep pool.
That's what this is. That's what it should have been. It's pretty close to that, isn't it?
Much better than the
So-
Tracy.
So
Flag.
you got to put on the Magnificent Seven theme and right into the
One of my
sunset.
favorite,
with
Elmer
that.
Bernstein, who
Elmer
famously
Bernstein.
said, no, was it the bad guy said, if had I known you were going to write such a good score, I would have learned how to ride a horse. Forget the dude's name, but I love that quote. Okay, and Lock and Co. opening up a Bond room on Wednesday down in St. James.
Oh.
If anyone's coming by, I think the event is actually private invitation, so don't drop by. That's just going to be me and a couple of other, probably Blair Ballard and a few others. But after Wednesday, feel free to drop by. Ken saying, dig in the hat. Thank you, Ken. God bless you. And gents, until next time. How do you stop a live broadcast? I guess you just press the off button. End broadcast.